Oh, hi. I am now doing my chords practice session part 2. And welcome. And but first, I just want to remind you to subscribe to my channel, so you and I can have that kind of practice sessions more often. Also, something that I want you to know: I don't prepare those practice sessions in advance. You know, because it's practice. So you and I are practicing, so I don't really need to prepare what I'm going to do, because when you practice, that means you more than likely you're going to make mistakes, and then you're going to learn from your mistakes. So I don't prepare those videos in advance. So if you see or hear a mistake that I make, then you can go ahead and use your own experience and judgment to find to actually fix the mistake, yourself. And also, yeah, I don't edit any of my videos, so there will be some mistakes, but I'm pretty sure you will see or hear them and take appropriate actions towards them. So okay, mostly what I'm going to do today, I'm going to go back to the lead sheet that I use in my chords practice part 1. I'm gonna go back to the lead sheet, the lead sheet. Remember, on the lead sheet, you only have the chord symbols and the melody. So you're gonna have to build those chords yourselves on the guitar, in order for you to play the music which is on the lead sheet. And also the rhythm is gonna be based on the common rhythm being played by the band, if you're playing with a band. So in the video, in the guitar chord practice video part 1, I think what I've said, I have really emphasized I have emphasized the need to be able to build our own chords on the guitar instead of trying to memorize a lot of chords we're going to forget, you know, anyway, at least some of them. So in uh, on the lead sheet that I use to play the to build to play to build the chords, I only there are two types of chord on that lead sheet. There are the sample chords and more the more complex ones, which are called, well, which we call chord substitutions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back on the video on the video part 1. I played the complex chords. Now I'm going to go back to the lead sheet and then play the sample chords and then see what kind of chords, you know, they use to substitute them. You know, you and I, we're gonna do that. I don't know if I don't know, you know, I'll let you know. And I'm gonna try to do as much as I'm gonna try to play as many as I can, but I don't really want the video to be too long. So we're gonna do it together. Okay, let's try. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the lead sheet, and the music on the lead sheet is in the key of F major, which is the F Ionian mode. So another thing, and this is very, very important, is chord movement. Chords movements. Chords don't follow each other just in a random fashion. So there's a way, you know, there's a way that chords moved. Well, there's a way chords move, you know, with each other. They follow each other in a certain way, not just like that. Otherwise we would be able to play a song just by playing a scale from start to finish. We would play a scale like the C major scale, C, D, E, and so on until C octave, and then if we could play a song like that, then okay, that would be very easy. We just play the scale. But no, chords don't follow each other that way. There's a logic. There are logical ways that chords progress, okay, in music. So if you play classical music, you know that there are the way there's a concept in classical, well, in music in general, but classical musicians, they really focus on cadences, okay, the way chords move, the way they follow each other, okay. But I'm not going to go through that because I'm not teaching music theory, okay. So, but cadence, okay, cadence, you know. In jazz we have cadence. I mean, the cadences are in any kind any kind of music, okay. So in jazz, I can give you a simple one. In jazz, we have a, a progression called 2-5-1. 2-5-1. That's a cadence, okay. It could be just a cadence can be just 5-1. So there's, you know, simple ones. There's compound ones also. So that's for music. That's for music theory. But I just wanted to let you know that chords move. They follow each other in a logical way, not just randomly like that. And one thing that you need to know about it is very important for musicians to know is the circle of fifth. The circle of fifth. So it's just like your a clock, okay. You know, you can move clockwise and you can move counterclockwise. So, and you have, I think C is at 12. C is at 12 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock you have G sharp. No, you have F sharp, which is also G flat. At 3 o'clock you have A. At 9 o'clock you have E. You have E flat. And the way the circle of fifth is laid out, when you move clockwise, you move in perfect fifth intervals, and when you move counterclockwise, you move in perfect fourth interval. So I also call it a circle of fourth, not because you see, I mean, you can see my point. They call it circle of fifth. I mean, when you go clockwise, you're moving in interval of fifth, of perfect fifths. But when you go counterclockwise, now you're moving in perfect fourth intervals. So I also call it circle of fourth. Okay. So musicians, if you want to know how chords progress in music, you must learn, you must understand the circle of fifths and fourths. So that's my advice to the students of the guitar. Learn the circle of fifths and the circle of fourths. And also you got in that circle you also have the key, you have the key signatures, and you also have the relative minor chords to the major chords. They're in the inside of the clock. So you need to know something about that circle, because if you look at the circle, take go, just like I said, it's just like a clock. Go to 12 o'clock on the circle. You got C, and then if you move a perfect fifth clockwise, which is an interval of fifth, what do you get? You get a G. If you move counterclockwise, the next note, okay, is going to be F, which is a perfect fourth, interval of fourth from C, okay, and and if you play a simple song in the key of C, well, those three chords right there, the G, the G clockwise, you got the G clockwise, going clockwise, you got F going counterclockwise, and you got the C in the middle. Those three chords in the circle of fifth, they are the primary chords in the major scale for you to play a simple song. You see? And on the circle, whatever note you start on is going to be the same procedure. Whatever note you start on the circle, the next note clockwise is a perfect fifth, and the next note counterclockwise is a perfect fourth, and those three notes are the primary chords in that major scale. Okay, and also you have, like I said, you have the minor, the relative minor chords inside the circle. So this is you must know your circle of fourth and fifths. Okay. Now back to the lead sheet. On the lead sheet, let me sample. Remember, it's in the key of F. Okay. On your guitar, F. I'm gonna play F with the root F on the 6th string, 1st fret. Okay. On the lead sheet, I saw I saw that cadence 2, 5, 1 in F major. You also have to know your scales, especially your major scales. Okay, the cadence 2, 5, 1. That means number 2. That means a chord build on the second note of F major, which is G, and then 5, a chord built on the 5th degree of F major, which is a C, and 1, which is F. So 2 5 1 on the 2, on the number 2 note of a major scale, like the F major scale, we can build a minor chord. So it's going to be G minor 7. Okay, 2. Okay, G minor 7th. That's on the 3rd root on the 3rd fret, and then no, root on the 3rd root on the 6th string, 3rd fret. I hope I didn't make a mistake when I play the F. The F is on the root of the F is on 6th string, 1st fret. Okay, so it is 2 and 5. 5 is going to be C dominant 7th, and then 1, which is F. See? Cadence 2 5 1. All right, but on the lead sheet, what I saw that they substitute the 2, which is a 5, which is the G minor 7. Okay, instead of playing G minor 7, they play another chord. Okay, G minor 7 is the simple chord. So what they use a dominant chord. They substitute a minor chord with a dominant chord, same letter. So I got a G minor 7th, so they substitute it with a G dominant 9. That's fine. So what they did, they play, instead of playing G minor 7, they play G dominant 9. Okay, which is also, I'm going to play it right here on the 3rd. Well, I use three frets, 3rd, 4th, and 5th fret to play. Okay, that's a G9. Okay, so you can use the simple chord. All right, just a G minor 7. Or you can substitute it with a dominant 7 dominant chord. In this case, dominant G dominant 9. You can also say chord G9. So you got that. Okay. So what another thing they did on the lead sheet, which is very, very important, they also use another chord to substitute that same G minor 7. Okay, so what they did, they use they use a concept called a dominant, a dominant flat 5 substitution. Okay, dominant flat 5 substitution. So what they did, they played they played a G9, all right, which is a dominant 9. Okay, to make things more interesting, they use the dominant flat 5 substitution. Okay, so if you remember, I'm talking about G. Okay, G9. They're going to substitute G9 with another dominant chord. Okay, so what they did, they use a dominant chord on the flat 5 of G. What is 5 of G? Okay, you have it's D. So what they did, they flatten D to D flat, and then they use a dominant chord on that. So they use D flat 9. Okay. So the first thing they did, G minor 7. Well, let me play it this way instead. Okay. G minor 7, which is this one. They substituted with G dominant 9. Then they substitute G dominant 9 with D flat 9, which is dominant flat 5 substitution. Okay, so they play D9, D flat 9. I'm sorry. Okay, so you can do that in music. So the next one that I saw, they also did another substitution for the G minor 7. They eliminated the G minor 7 completely. They use substitutions instead. Okay, so now what did they? Well, another substitution they did. They okay, we play G minor 7 again. Now remember the progression was, the simple progression was 2-5-1. So G minor 7, C7, and 1. Now they substitute all those chords, I mean 2 chords for G minor 7. There's another chord they use. They substituted for G minor 7. It's a C7 suspended, which is this one. Okay, right here. Okay, so they can do that because if you take G and then you go, let's say you go up, no, you go counterclockwise. Okay, no, you go clockwise. Okay, you're gonna see G, and then you're gonna get A, B, C, and then you're gonna get yeah, you're gonna get C. Okay, G A B C. So that's an interval of fourth. So it's a good substitution. Okay, because that's the way that's basically the way chords move. In fourth and fifth, interval of fourth, interval of fifth, so stuff like that. So that's a good substitution. So that's the reason why they were able to do that. So okay, that's C. That's C7 suspended. And then before they reach the one chord, they made another substitution. They substitute C7 suspended with C7 flat 5, which is this one here. Okay? And then they end up to 1. Yeah. See? So that's an example. There's a lot of substitutions you can do. When you on sample chords, but you have to learn. You have to know your. You have to understand your circle of fourth and circle of fifth. So, okay, let me see what they did again. This is the sample. The sample 2-5-1, G minor 7, 5, C7, C dominant 7, and end up, and then resolve on 1, F major. Now with the substitutions, they use G9. See, they forget that D minor 7 complete. They forget that G minor 7th completely. They use a G9, G dominant 9, and they use a dominant flat 5 substitution, which is a D flat 9, and they use C. They substitute D flat 9 with well, not actually. They substitute G minor 7th with C 7 suspended, C dominant 7 suspended, and then for C dominant 7 suspended, they substitute C dominant 7 flat 9, alright, and then resolve to the one chord. I am going to stop because this subject is this is something that this is a subject you cannot cover this subject in one video. Chord substitution. At least I give you an idea how you can go about it, students of the guitar, and then you and I. Another thing that let me give you, if you substitute a G type chord for another G type chord, that is called direct substitution. Like G minor 7, I substituted I substituted with G dominant 9, that G for G, so that's a direct substitution. But sometimes you can substitute chord with a different chord letter, with a different letter name completely. Those things happen in music. So, and remember this concept, also applies to keyboard players. Okay, so I'm gonna start because, like I just told you, this is the subject is wide. So I will be covering some more of it at a later, at a later date. So have a good night.